Hey, I would greatly appreciate if you could support my eBay shop. Simply go to ebay.com in the search bar, type in Latrice Limited, click on shops, and then support me. I have a wide variety of items on there. I have many of my Latrice Limited items on there, such as soaps, bath bombs, candles, essential oil blends, and pain and sleep. I got, robes. I got a whole bunch of stuff. Definitely check it out. And now let's get into the video. So I seen this post the other day, and I'm gonna read it first, and then I'm gonna give my thoughts and opinions on it as we go along. As a man, I can tell you that the main problem nowadays is not really social media, it's infidelity. Most black men nowadays don't want one woman, they want a variety. They won't admit to that in a relationship because they know that she will leave. It's just a manipulation tactic. No man is going to admit he wants more than one woman unless his girl's okay with polygamy. And I find that to be very interesting. And that's pretty much what kind of sparked this whole thing. Now, I feel like social media is a huge part in the destruction of relationships and what's going on, because you have a lot of people who they just be out here, yo. they want to you have a lot of women who are comparing themselves to this unattainable image of an Instagram model, and the life and the lifestyle and everything that goes along with it, the looks and all that, even though a lot of the stuff is filters, and a lot of these people haven't even gone to these places that they claim that they're in, or if they do, we see the poo-poo Dubai stuff, so let's not talk about that, but that's one of the things with social media. It gives this weird ideal, like, okay, this is what living is. At 25 years old, I need to be making $2 million, and if I'm not, I'm a failure. And it's like, what? That's crazy. But going on a little bit more on this comment, it says it's infidelity. Most black men now don't want one woman, they want a variety. Now, of course, you could take this, it's an opinion, all right? But that's another thing that gets me, is like, you say, oh, I want you, but then it's like, I want this other person. You want to do like a polygamous thing. Now you have people who would say, oh, well, what's wrong with polygamy? There's nothing wrong with polygamy, Alex. Many people do polygamy. Well, here's the thing with polygamy, and if you do it within religious basis or not, all the time, it is you marry who you can afford. So that means if you can afford 2 women, you marry them. Okay, you have to marry them. One, okay, can't just be out here. You have to marry them. So now this is a financial contract that we have going on. Okay, so if you do some craziness or whatever, that's your loss if you get divorced. You know what I mean? But that's one, you have to marry them. And 2, when you mess around with these women, you also have to say, okay, this is how much I can afford. Okay, can you afford another wife? All right. You can't be sitting around here making $50,000 and being like, well, I can afford her. Says who? Because after taxes, you're making around $35,000. You gonna really give her half that so you can afford her? No, you can't. So that's one of the things. You have to be able to afford her. And if you're gonna be doing it how it should be done, in my opinion, you can't just be living up in no ranch shack shed looking place and being like, oh, well, we're just gonna have to eat ramen noodles for a little bit. No, if you want 2 women, then you have to be able to afford them if we're gonna do the whole polygamy thing. But here's the problem. Most men, as we see with these statistics, this same black men in America, most of them are making less than $40,000 a year. So how in the heck are you gonna afford another woman? You have to be making at least $150,000 if you're gonna really be able to afford her. So that's what I'm not really understanding, because at the end of the day, it's not just like, okay, here's food and here's water, like some dog. She's not going to be needing gas for her car. She's not going to need a new car. She's not going to want to be going out shopping. She's not going to want to go out eating. What's going on? Is she just going to be sitting in the house and waiting for, you to give her $20 for that week, an allowance? Come on. So that's one of the things that I really don't get, and then you have people who will say, oh, well, I want multiple women, and then you don't want to tell them. That's what gets me. If you're into the polygamy thing, just let the person know, okay, this is what I'm into, and if you're not into it, cool. But you're so afraid that she'll leave you that's why you don't tell her. And then you just mess around anyways. And then now you get mad that she don't want to be with you anymore. Come on. A lot of that could have been avoided had you just went and told her. But here's the thing. The main thing is acting on impulse. It's not everyone has eyes, everyone looks, everyone sees. Okay, so it's not necessarily anything wrong with looking, but it's whether or not you act on said impulse. Are you going to do the do? Nah, I'm not gonna do the do because I'm a good guy. Okay, perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with liking some pictures here and there. Nothing wrong with looking, doing all that. But I mean, when you start trying to get emotionally attached, or if you're opening a door for her to get emotionally attached because you're over here having dinners with her and you're doing all, oh, we haven't had sex or anything. Yeah, but you're treating her as though you're courting her, which is a problem. Because at the end of the day, if you wouldn't want a dude courting your chick, you shouldn't be doing that to her, because now you know where that leads, so that's one of the things that gets me, being open and honest with it. If that's what it is, I mean, you have some women who were cool with that. They're like, okay, cool, if you can afford me, cool, all right, let's do it, and they're fine. Another thing that also kind of gets me is when these men are saying this, but then they turn around and say, yeah, man, it's a lonely man's crisis out here. Well, how's it lonely if y'all got multiple women and y'all trying to pursue multiple women, but then y'all lonely? That doesn't make any sense. How can you not get women, but then you say that you get women? Or is it just a thing of, yeah, I want 10 different women, but you don't even have game for one, So I think that's a bit interesting to me. But then you also have some men who would try to claim that they're high value, but like I said, if most men are making less than $40,000 a year, you ain't high value. Not in the financial aspect of things, So that's one of the things that kind of get me. People try to be on this, oh, I want to be about the polygamy life and da da da, and then y'all trying to be on the escaping polygamy side of things, where the women living with rats and roaches and all this kind of stuff because you can't afford to really have another woman. But that's the main thing about it, is when you look at these different religions, you have to open up your books to her dad. If he's alive, you will open up your books and being like, this is how much I can afford realistically. This is how much I can realistically afford. I can afford to take your daughter. I can afford to care for her. I can afford to love her. I can afford to do this. But here financially is how much I can actually afford. But nowadays it's just, well, I just want a chick over here and I want a chick over here. I mean, she gotta make her own money. They the boss. Then you aren't doing it from this side of things. You're just doing it to be greedy. You just ain't gonna be out here, just be out here, But I thought that was a pretty interesting take that this guy had in terms of relationships and what they think men actually want, and that is really multiple women.